Alright guys, how's it going tonight? I just wanted to show you something that I finally got in the mail today. I'm pretty excited about it. I've heard lots and lots of great things about it, and it's this guy right here. This is JJ's Magic, and obviously it's the chartreuse color. It's a dipping dye to kind of go ahead and dip some of your stuff. You know, it'll compete against the other leading competitor out there. But it has got garlic oil, and it has a very, very potent smell to it. So I got a couple baits here I want to dip real quick. I want to kind of show you what it does, what it looks like. I went ahead and dipped 2 baits earlier today, took them up to the store, threw them in the test tank. I have the benefit of having a 16,000 gallon test tank full of bass, and the results were great. So, you know, I hope it works out in the real world in the same scenario. But I'm gonna go ahead and dip a couple different baits here that I have. I wanted to show you. It's very, very easy to use. You do have to be very careful at this because it doesn't fade. So if you spill it in the living room, if you spill it on the boat, whatever it may be, you might as well just consider it chartreuse for the rest of your life. So the first one I'm going to go ahead and dip right here. This is a solid pearl zoom fluke with a paddle tail, and all you really have to do is just lower that down in there for about 3 seconds, pull it on out, and just let it dry. It does happen pretty quick, but let me see if I can bring that over there. So as you can see, I got a beautiful chartreuse tail. Now, of course, it's going to be kind of hard for you to tell on camera here, but what's really cool about it is it kind of has this glowing effect in the water, and it just is pretty. I mean, I can smell the garlic coming off this thing. It's so incredible. The next one I'm going to do, I got a watermelon red flake. This is just a river bug, and so I'm going to go ahead and just barely dip the little pinchers out here on the end, just to give it a little bit of movement whenever it's kind of flapping in the water there. Now, something like this one, it's going to be very difficult to tell on the camera, but you might be able to pick it up. Yeah, you can still kind of pick that up even on the camera, that it's got that little bit of chartreuse, and that's all it takes is something like that just to kind of get their attention. Next one I've got right here, this is a baby brush hog. This color is a pumpkin gold, so again, it's pretty dark brown. It's got black and silver flake and a little bit of gold flake in it. And again, all I'm going to do, I'm just going to fold the 2 thick arms or appendages back, because I just want to get the longer ones is all I'm really looking for. And what's something that's really, really nice about this stuff is that it goes all the way through. So if you were to take, say, that white fluke and cut through that tail right now, you're going to notice that it made it all the way through. So something like that, you don't need a whole lot. I just want a little bit of flash and something coming off that brush hog. So as I bounce this along the bottom, I'm going to get a pretty cool effect there. And the reason I bought the JJ's Magic was that one right there. That's your watermelon red, your zoom fluke with the split tail instead. And again, I don't want a whole lot. I just want to barely make it past that split tail piece. 3 seconds in there, pull it out, make sure it doesn't drip on anything. I'm using a paper plate to kind of just dab it out. But look at that. Got that little bit of chartreuse right there on the back, and that is going to work perfect. I'm going to try and slow down my fishing a little bit, and I'm going to try and do a little bit more finesse fishing. So I want to do that one unweighted. Another one, your typical sticko right there, but this one's got that fat paddle tail on it. Now I don't want to dip the whole paddle tail, I just want just a touch of it. And there it is, that's all it is. I got about a 1/4 inch of it, but as you can see, it doesn't show up as strong, but you can tell there's a little bit of that chartreuse coming up that paddle. So that's all you really need on that. And this is actually a really interesting color. I've got several of them here. They kind of vary depending on how they dye. But these are 2 identical baits here, and it is called the Mossy Melon. So you can see one's got a lot of brown, one's got a little bit more of the green. You kind of roll them over. They got the lighter side to them. I think it's an interesting bait. It's one of these, it's again, another river bug. Mossy Melon is a good looking one right there. So I got the brown, a little bit of green, and I got the real green belly on it. It's real small. It's the 3 inch. But I bought this one just so I could go real finesse, and I want to put a swim bait hook on it that's weighted. That way I can kind of get it to flutter down to the bottom, kind of get their attention. And I wanted to go small, so when they get pretty picky, I can kind of help them out. Real tough to tell on this one because that color is almost already there. You can kind of just catch it on that glare right where it's at. But again, it's got that garlic smell to it, so it's just going to be phenomenal. And then of course, the last one I want to go ahead and throw in there, got a little bluegill flash on the speed shad. And I'm just going to go ahead and just barely get the back part of that tail, or that boot tail is in there. Actually, this one's going to turn out to be a great color to go with. Because it's so translucent already to start off with. This is actually a winner. This was one I just grabbed just so I had something different. But there's your bluegill flash, and you can see that tail right there just wanting to dance around. So that I think is going to turn out to be a real winner. But that's a couple different baits. This is obviously stuff you want to be very careful with. It does build up pressure as it gets hot outside. But the good thing is, because this stuff doesn't fade, it's going to hold its color, it's going to hold its scent. You know, it's something you can dip at home. It's not necessarily something I want to be doing on a rocking kayak. But, you know, I have that opportunity if I wanted to. I could take it out there. And then the last thing I wanted to show y'all that happened to show up today too, that I am very excited about. I had to get a new swim bait box just to fit this guy. You can kind of see him hiding in there. And so this is going to be one I'm definitely going to be throwing out there on the Dirty Bird, trying to get that big fish. But of course, this is the Jackall Gantarel. Gantarel, I can't even pronounce it, who cares, but it is a bad bait right there. It is double jointed, so you've got your first joint right there, the middle of the body, and then you got another little joint right there at the back of the tail. And so, just really cool. I went with the darker bluegill pattern. It's got that little bit of orange up underneath there. It's got those red eyes, really nice. And then something else that's great about this bait is the eye rings, they have a swivel on those eye rings. The hooks have a swivel. So when you do hook that fish and he's shaking his head trying to get leverage, well, the thing is, the whole thing will spin around, so you don't have to worry about them tossing it as easy, because you know how easy it is to toss these big baits. And then lastly, it has a little ring right here on the bottom, so if I want to set it up more like a drop shot or just add some extra weight to the nose, I can do that. So ouch. I am very excited about this particular bait right here. I've been staring at it online for quite some time at you know, they had the JJs, and so I went ahead and threw that in the shopping cart. Of course, the camera doesn't even do justice for how beautiful this thing is painted. So again, the Gantarel, they also make a junior. This one's just over 6 inches. The junior's about 5 inches. So very interesting bait. I'm very excited about it. I look forward to throwing that one. If you got any questions about the JJs or about this guy, hopefully I got some videos coming out here pretty soon that I can post some footage of them swimming. But holler at me, comment below. Don't forget to hit the little red button over to the left to subscribe, and we'll see you later. I appreciate you watching. Thanks, guys.